Hollywood really can't figure out why they're failing. We used to treat movie stars like gods. Hollywood grapples with the loss of young star power. Oh, these guys are so out of touch. They really don't know. I saw Ripa's takes on this, and I pretty much agree with everything he said. And he basically said a lot of the same things I've said before too. That in the past, these Hollywood stars, like these movie stars, if they communicated with us unwashed masses, they did so through like 10 layers of PR. Now, thanks to social media, they get to run their mouth off without any filters, without any PR. We can see just how dumb they are and how little they think of us. And that's killed a lot of the illusion. Like, how can you see them as gods when you see that these people are dumber than you and the only talent they have is being a dancing monkey on a stage pretending to be something they're not? The mystique is gone. But there's more to this story as well. So I'm going to be kind of reiterating the points you all expect, and then I'm going to save mine for the end. So the hottest package at this year's Cannes Film Festival stars a 76-year-old action star and is a reboot of a movie that first dazzled moviegoers in 1993. That's a time, in case you forgot, before TikTok or smartphones, Facebook or Amazon, or any number of technological changes that have reshaped our world and the movie business along with them. And yet, Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone bravely summiting the mountain again is seen as one of the most commercial scripts out there for buyers hoping to make an adventure film that can traverse borders and bring crowds. So, spoiler alert, it's not so much that Sylvester Stallone is in the movie, it's that they bothered making a decent movie, but I'll get into that. With a nod to the younger audiences who will be needed to turn up if the movie is going to replicate the original's blockbuster status, the producers tease the casting is currently underway for a presumably younger actor to share the screen with Sly. But who will that be? Over the last 10 years, we've done a really shitty job of creating new generation of movie stars, groused one sales agent. Yeah, the only ones I can think of on the slightly younger side, even though these people, I think these guys are still like 50 plus years old. Like, we got Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise still has star power. Keanu Reeves still has some star power. I think Nicolas Cage does as well. If you're willing to go into the more niche groups, Kevin Sorbo could still bring an audience. He could still sell movies. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, some people saying Chris Pratt. Like, I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I know he did that Terminal List show on Amazon that did okay, but I don't think it was because of Chris Pratt. It's just, so Chris Pratt is smart. I think if he keeps this up, he will be built up into the next like big star. But he's smart about picking what movies he does too. Like, that's key. But again, hold that thought. I'm going to get to that at the end. All right, and a look at some of the projects that are on offer or premiering at Cannes seems to bolster the argument. There's Breakout, an action thriller featuring 75-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger, who that will be directed by Expendables 4 filmmaker Scott Waugh. Lords of War with 59-year-old Nicolas Cage returning to the role as an amoral arms dealer he first played nearly 2 decades ago. Now, That's Amore, a rom-com with 69-year-old John Travolta. The Rivals of the Amzara King, a story featuring 53-year-old Matthew McConaughey. In most cases, these actors have been famous globally so since the 70s and 80s. Oh, my God. Yeah, on Thursday night. Henry Cavill. Yeah, so Henry Cavill would have potential, but the industry, it's actually same with Chris Pratt. Both Henry Cavill and Chris Pratt are being actively, they're being kneecapped by Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't want them. So audiences like them. Audiences want them to be the next big star, but Hollywood doesn't like them. Hollywood doesn't want them. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson, he is old as fuck too. The reason I didn't mention him is because I was mentioning younger actors. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is old as fuck, man. Yeah, Tim Allen is old as fuck too. Oh, it is so funny when the youngest people we could come up with are in their 40s. On Thursday night, the increasingly geriatric nature of this star system was on full display at the Cannes Film Festival as 80-year-old Harrison Ford walked the red carpet for the premiere of Indiana Jones and the Dialysis of Destiny. Well, Richie donned the fedora he first wore in 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark and is still well preserved enough to unabashedly doff his top. I've been blessed with this body, he said sheepishly when he asked about his shirtless scene at a press conference. Ford does get an assist from some of those technological breakthroughs, appearing 35 years younger in key scenes. So why hasn't there been a flowering of new A-listers to rival the Fords, the Schwarzeneggers, the Stallones of yesteryear? Protagonist Pictures COO George Hamilton points to the collapse of DVD business in 2008 as the moment where Hollywood stopped being able to reliably make movie stars. Yeah, this, like, Ripa already ripped into this guy, pun intended. Yeah, this is a COO, and he is that incompetent. No, I think the DVD sales argument, this is the textbook example of correlation does not equal causation. You know what? You want to know what was happening right around the same time as DVD sales were failing? This, like 2008, that's like when all of these big new social media companies were arriving on the scene and becoming popular. Like this is right around the time these Hollywood stars, they dropped all their PR filters and started like directly interacting with their audiences. That was the biggest mistake. The fact that DVD sales happened to collapse right around the same time doesn't really mean anything. So nearly all the actors and actresses who are bankable now have had very successful films, and DVD and video was still a huge force, said Hamilton, who was selling several films at the festival, including Polly Findler's debut feature, Midwinter Break. I don't care about those. You could see as a dividing line shift in terms of older and newer generations. The new generation, there's more division between success because you could have the most watched show or film on a streamer, but there might not be a whole swath of society who may not subscribe, and they're not part of that. Oh, that's a good point. If you compare the number of people that watch shows on streams compared to those who bought like DVDs, it's like no contest, really. I'm actually glad that people are avoiding jumping to the streamers because like we're almost in a like cable TV again. It is so bad. It's so expensive. In 2008, just as DVD sales began his death spiral, the first Twilight movie debuted, and the franchise's next-gen stars became the centerpiece of market packages for years to come. But nearly all those packages ultimately fizzled in the marketplace. Today, only Robert Pattinson, 37, could carry a big-budget package to the goal line on his name alone at a market like Cannes, and only because of Variety. They pay editors here. And only because of his combination of box office credentials, like The Batman and critically acclaimed indie performances, Good Time. Kristen Stewart has earned critical raves in films such as Spencer, but hasn't been as focused on tentpole adventures. Well, it's also the types of movies you do, too. Not all of them are going to be successful. Yeah, obviously, the Twilight IP was the star there. The director-producer Aaron Kaufman has worked with a number of alums from the Vampire Human Love Story. The shift to promoting IP over stars may have sounded like a good idea because IP doesn't overdose or tweet about Nazis. Yeah, just like Ripa pointed out right there, that's they almost were self-aware. Yeah, the IP doesn't embarrass themselves on social media and drive customers away. And then they go and ruin the IPs too. Like, look at Rings of Power. Dude, a Lord of the Rings TV show with $1 billion budget. That should have been a license to print money. And they still fucked it up. You got to be a next level incompetence to pull that off. No, however, this shift has left the cupboard bare when it comes to next-gen stars. There's an issue now that the IP stores have been cleaned out. Well, they wouldn't be cleaned out if you would quit ruining them. See, the thing is that they look, okay, what are people nostalgic for? Oh, let's bring back this dead IP and let's completely ruin it. Let's make it for modern audiences. Oh, this one didn't pan out. All right, let's throw it in the trash bin and do the next one. Maybe if you did good work, it wouldn't be a problem. All that's left is Tube Sock Man or whatever Marvel has yet to make. Go ahead, milk them. Now, the most promising members of the up-and-coming A-list set often need to check multiple boxes, like Sydney Sweeney, 25, boasts not one, but two talked about series with The White Lotus and Euphoria. Haven't heard of either of them. As well as superhero cred via her starring on the upcoming Madam Web, a spin-off of Sony's Spider-Man franchise. Don't care. Guess those stars should have kept the PR folks so they took to social media back then. They did actually. They did keep their PR because, like, even right now, most social media accounts for these stars are actually run by some agent. Like, they're not run by the stars themselves. But then, like, they do things like live streaming now. Like this way, oh god, live streaming isn't what destroyed the movie star, but live streaming is what hammered the final nail in their coffin. Because as more people shift to watching live streams, a lot of these Hollywood stars they try live streaming as well because that's what all the popular kids do nowadays, right? Oh man, like when they're live streaming and they're reacting without a script to their audience, like that's when it's a disaster. The major difference between like pre-recorded videos, whether it be movies or even YouTube videos, is you could edit out all the kinks. You could edit out all the embarrassing stuff. Like so all these actors, like you think they like never stutter when they're not reading a script? No. Like all the imperfections you could edit out. You get to choose exactly what people see. But with a live stream, if you are a fake evil person, there's only so long you can go as a streamer before the truth gets out. That is the one advantage of live streaming is that you can't hide who you really are for too long. You're going to slip up. If you're faking it, you're going to slip up. And all these actors, they're good at faking it, but even they make mistakes and those mistakes are just edited out of the final product. You can't do that on a live stream, man. There's much less people in that younger age bracket who are household names by virtue of the way in which their films or TV have reached audiences because of streaming, Hamilton added. So you have to maximize the value of the new generation of stars and really ensure that there's clarity of concept, clarity of genre, really knowing who the audience is so you can really appeal to distributors. Well, alternatively, look at Japan. I wouldn't suggest going as far as their idol culture does, but celebrity culture in Japan is still very healthy because celebrities in Japan, like if a celebrity in Japan acted the way like towards their audience like American celebrities do, they would be fired immediately. That all their projects would be canceled. They'd be edited out of all the finished projects they were in. It would be the end of their career. Yeah, they are forced to keep up appearances at all times. And that's why they're still popular there. Meanwhile, the sales agent thinks that some of the shrinking movie star phenomenon has to do with long-term contracts that rising actors like Tom Holland, Chris Hemsworth, and their ilk have signed to appear in Marvel movies, such as Ryan Gosling, 42, have been inconsistent at the global box office despite commanding passionate followings, while Timothy Chalamet scored with Dune, but remains something of an untried commodity. Michael B. Jordan has two franchises under his belt, Black Panther and Creed, but it remains to be seen whether he can carry a film with a without a well-known IP. I think those days are pretty much done. You got to be real good at selling it, though. Yeah, in this sense, the days in which a celebrity could carry an IP on their own, those are definitely done. Yeah, nowadays people don't follow individual actors anymore, with very few exceptions. Yeah, likewise, Jennifer Lawrence will face a huge test with regards to her bankability in the upcoming R-rated comedy No Hard Feelings. Post Hunger Games, she was a huge draw, but has not been as active on screen in recent years. But the agent also believes that streaming services don't know how to apply the right amount of varnish on promising talents, in part because the movies that debut on Netflix or Prime Video don't have the kind of massive global marketing campaigns that accompany major theatrical releases, which could be true. But a lot of these actors star in movies as well. We used to treat our movie stars like gods, the agent said. Yeah, that's before we knew just how dumb and horrible they were. We treated them like gods when they did what like Japanese idols do, when they maintained that illusion. Look, even back then, most people knew celebrities weren't perfect, but we were satisfied enough being lied to. It's like watching pro wrestling. You know it's fake, but you don't care because it's entertaining. At least it used to be entertaining. Now it got woke and it's not. But it was the same thing with these actors. As long as they maintained the illusion, we were fine with it. But they shattered that. They shattered this lie. So the marketing of those streaming movies is so limited, it doesn't really create stars. Actors aren't burned into the minds like they once were, and they don't have this larger than life image any longer. Yeah, this is the end here, but let me just explain. There's actually two things that Ripa didn't cover when he covered this article. So he was dead on. Like when he mentioned some of the same points I did about how like these actors are running their mouth, alienating half their audience, and just having dumb hot takes on things that they clearly know nothing about. That is a legitimate problem. But there's two other issues. The first issue, this is kind of, I guess the fault of people like me. It's just entertainment changes. Like video games are more popular than movies are nowadays. People want video games more than movies. Anime is growing. YouTubing and live streaming is growing. Like there are kids nowadays, like they could list off like popular Twitch streamers, but they can't list off movie stars because they're more interested in watching like Ninja play Fortnite than they are. Actually, Ninja's old shit now, isn't he? Who XQC? Yeah, they're more interested in watching XQC play whatever he does than watch a movie. These kids like they're new celebrities, like the modern version of movie stars, are basically Twitch streamers. So that is one problem. Like the entertainment landscape has shifted. We're not in an era where movies are like the pinnacle of entertainment anymore. Like nowadays, people watch more streams than movies. But then the last issue, why don't we make these stars? So imagine for a second that you have a movie star and he's like, he has all the potential to be like the next Stallone, like the next Schwarzenegger, the next Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like you got a young, like 20-something actor who has the potential to be like the next big action star. He's got the talent, he's got the looks, but all the movies he's starring in are woke garbage. Doesn't matter how good these actors are, if they're forced to waste the best years of their life when they should be building a name for themselves on dog shit woke garbage movies that are made as inoffensive as possible to appeal to a wider audience, as opposed to being good for a target audience. This is the kind of stuff that destroys the careers of promising young actors. Hollywood themselves is responsible for this. They're the ones that keep putting these great actors into these horrible movies, into these horrible roles. All of these factors combined, yeah, Hollywood's done for. So you know how stage, like theater, like not movie theater, but stage in-person theater still exists? You still have professional stage actors making their living doing theater. They still make okay money as a niche hobby. Like that's what Hollywood's going to turn into. Like Hollywood's not going to go anywhere. Movies aren't going to go anywhere. They're just not going to be as big as they once were. They're going to slowly become more niche as video games and live streaming takes over. And that's just the way of things, man. Yeah, Henry Cavill would be an S-tier star if he got the movies he deserves. Now, see that? I agree with Henry Cavill. Hollywood itself is going out of its way to kneecap Henry Cavill. They're doing this on purpose. Like Chris Pratt as well. Chris Pratt and Henry Cavill, like they could be the next superstars, but Hollywood doesn't like them. Hollywood itself, and the same Hollywood that's like in this article, they're asking, hey guys, I don't get it. Why don't we have these big stars anymore? And then they look out and they see the people who have the most potential to become the big stars and they kneecap them. No, not those guys. Ew. Those guys have the wrong politics. We don't like them. Anyone but them.